everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to our Vagabond mini album. This is a project that I have designed for Scrap and Create, and we are using Vagabond, Lady Vagabond and Sir Vagabond. I have got one each for each design in the 12 and the 8, 12 by 12, 8 by 8. When we left off last time, we had basically not quite finished the cover, but put a lot of stuff down. I'm going to pull these little flowers off. I want to show you what I did away from the camera. I felt like I loved the way it looked, but I felt like it needed a little more texture. So I added these little dots. And what these are just brads that I cut the back off and glued down. So that's that. I also added this little dream big piece, I think, after last time. And I have these Prima flowers from my stash that I am debating using. I kind of like them, so I may. All right, I'm going to set those aside. So last night, right now I'm working nights, which I love, and I get off at 11. And last night after work, for whatever reason, I decided to record because I felt like crafting. Big mistake, because while I recorded the audio, I didn't record the video. Fortunately, I only did a little bit, but I do want to show you what I did, because one of them is a little bit, I'm not going to say it's hard, but it's a little fussy. So let me show you what we've got. So I've got the side pocket inserts. Let me pull one out that I did. These are, they're all the same. 7 3/4 by 5 3/4. I used a 1/4 inch rounder on the 4 corners. I put a 1.5 inch strip of pattern paper on both sides on the edges, and then Kraft in the rest. So that's that. And I'm gonna get, let's see, I haven't fixed that yet. Alright, so these little cards are just cut-aparts that I've left as is. This is one of the square cut-aparts that I just matted with Kraft on the back. So that's very straightforward. This is a little booklet. It has Kraft in the middle. It is 7 by 10, folded in half, and then matted with the kitty on the front, and this on the back. Oops. And that goes in there. I did finish matting this. So I added the little strips, and I added Kraft on the back. And then I matted this and put that. Okay, so that's that. Sorry guys, my I've done something to my thumb. I don't know, maybe I'm just getting old and falling apart. But it's hard for me to grip things right now. So this is the main thing I want to talk about, but let me show you a couple of other things before I get to that. All right, so in here, I just did a really big photo mat, and I put him on the front. It is 5.5 by 7.5, and it's got Kraft on the back. Remember, this has a fairly tight vellum pocket, and then it has these 2 flaps, so you really can't put a whole lot into that pocket. In this belly band, or diagonal corner band, whatever you want to call it, I think this is a little bigger, 5 3/4 by 7.5. Kraft on the back, and the red house on the front, and I rounded the corners of this one. I did the last one. Okay, so let's talk about this. So what I have here are 3 mats, and I have to finish matting them with some Kraft, and unfortunately I showed you how to do this and then didn't record it. But it's pretty straightforward. So what you want to do is, this is the 12 by 12 page that has this girl on it. And I cut a strip 3 7/8 inches wide. Okay, And I don't worry about the length, as long as it's like 8, more than 8, say 10 inches long at least. Or I would just cut the whole strip. Okay? And then what I did is I started at the top, and based on, here, let me bring the book back. Hang on. Okay, so I had this piece. Let me put it back in. I'm going to give you dimensions. You may have them already. 6 3/4 by 4. Okay, so this mat is 6 3/4 by 4. Right? And so I knew I wanted the mat, when this was fully in the pocket, to go under the pocket slightly. So this mat is 2 5/8 by the 3 7/8 that you already cut your strip. So from just above her hat, I cut down, like here's my long strip, I just cut 2 5/8 and put it at the top of this mat. Okay, and then you can pull it up a little bit, put it wherever you want. Okay, so then the next cut, because you've cut across the top of her hat, then you've cut the 2 5/8. So this is now the raw edge of the mat, and you're going to cut a piece 1 3/4 and put it at the top of this mat, which is 4 by 4.5, and that goes in this lower pocket. Okay. See what we're doing here, right? Now this is going to be the last one, and it is, hang on, it's actually folded over. So it's the same 4 and 6 1/4 folded in half, and I have a magnet here, and there's a matching magnet here, so I just still have to mat that with Kraft. Okay, it goes in the pocket like that, and then folds over, and the magnets catch and hold it in place. Okay, so basically what you're doing is sort of recreating, if you want to fuss with it you can, but you're recreating the mat that's on the actual pocket, but this is the 12 by 12, so the scale is different. Okay, hope that makes sense. Okay, so then we have the inside, pardon me, and on the inside I just have one of the cut aparts that I've matted, so that it's got Kraft on the back. It's also got some glue or something on the back. Hang on. Okay, put that back. Okay, and then I have this one that is, I believe I cut it 8 inches. I'll explain what I mean in a minute. So it's 8 by 5 3/4, folded in half. And then I had these mats that look like books. And I put one on the front and one on the back, but this is actually flipped, the back side. I'm going to put Kraft in the middle, but I haven't done that yet. But the reason I said it's about 8 is I found it easier to just cut it at 8, put this mat on where I wanted it towards the fold, front and back, and then I just trimmed off the extra. So that's how I did that, rather than trying to get an exact measurement of what was going to be perfect for that mat. I just made it big and cut it down. All right, so we have, I think that catches us up to where I was at. There's nothing there. Oh, I did have a mat, or not a mat, but I think it was, I don't even know if I still have it. I set it aside somewhere. But I was going to do another little like booklet thing that was going to, and that was going to go between like this, and it would hold the pages closed. Not that they need it because they have a magnet, but honestly, I just love the way this page looks so much. I didn't want to cover it up, but if you want to, go ahead. Gotta fix that. Yours will be right side up. We've already done that. We've done these. Okay, so let me show you what the last thing I haven't done, but I'm thinking of doing. All right. This is very plain, which is fine. It's supposed to hold pictures or whatever, but I'm thinking, set that aside. I'm trying to find a spot for it. I've got to clean up. I say that every video. Clearly, it's just like I clean up and then it gets a mess again. All right, so this is one of the 4x4 cut aparts with the doors. And what I did is I sliced right down the middle of the door from the top of the door frame to the bottom, and then across the top to the edges of the door frame. So essentially I just made doors. And then scored here so that they would open. And then I'm thinking of putting that there. You could put a photo, like a small photo. And I was kind of dithering around with assorted like possible closures for this. And I actually had one that I was thinking of. It was metal. But it does not have much room to play in that, in the spot where I'm planning on putting it. So I think I may not use a closure at all. I may just, now if you know you're going to put photos, you don't even need this. I'm just putting it in as a decorative element because this is kind of plain. And I'm thinking of just centering it here. And then not use a closure, just let it be because it'll close automatically, obviously, when the page is closed. And I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. So let's make that. And I just want to, because I'm thinking of mounting it on cardstock rather than mounting it directly on the page. So let me just see how that's going to do. That's fine. I'm just checking it for bulk. All right. And I'm just going to make this big and then I will cut it down. Alright, so this does not need any ink because it's barely going to be seen. Alright, so I'm just gluing that down there. So I had a bit of a day yesterday. I think that's why I wanted to craft last night. I was sitting at work. I work from home, of course, but I was sitting working. And you don't have to worry about this being straight or anything because we're going to trim it. But anyway, so I'm sitting working. And it was just coming up on my break, thank goodness. When I got an alert on my phone, and I don't usually pay that much attention to my phone when I'm working, obviously, but I was getting ready to go on break, so I had my phone right there, because I like to set myself a timer so I'm not late coming back from my break. And anyway, so I had an alert from my bank asking me if a charge was legitimate, and it was clearly not. I was like, I have no idea what that is. So I immediately went and checked my bank, and somebody had managed to basically drain my bank account, which was horrifying. But obviously my bank was on top of it because they alerted me. So I called the bank, they're getting it fixed, but they had to cancel my debit card, of course, and send me a new one, which could take 10 days. And I am going out of town tomorrow, which of course by the time you see this I will have been gone and come back, but oh, what a nightmare. Anyway, so they got everything straightened out, and then I went this morning and got a temporary debit card, which I mean I don't really need it. I'm not only going for a little bit, but I did need some cash if I wasn't going to have my debit card, so they worked that out for me. And as you can see, I've got a little bit hanging over and whatnot. And I'm not really worried about that because I'm going to trim it. I don't think I want a border on this, although maybe I do. Well, it's too late now because, well, not really, because if I ink it, you wouldn't see anything. It's only a little bit right there. I'm going to cut it with a border and then we'll see what we think. I'm just eyeballing it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to cut it this way. bad with the border, except for that I've got that little bit that I wasn't careful about because I thought I was going to cut it off. Yeah, that's going to bother me. I'm going to have to do it the way I originally planned. I could leave a little top and bottom, but I don't know. I wonder if I should leave that little bit at the bottom just to sort of act as a protective element. I think it'll be alright. Jolly? What's up? You tell me the laundry's done? I heard it. Okay. Go. Get this out of the way. Sweetheart, nobody can see with you there. No, nobody can see with you there. Oh, she's gonna sit down. Hang on. Okay. Let's bring this over here. And I need to ink the edges of that. Okay. So what we're thinking is just putting this here. And I'm just double checking it because I actually like it better without any border on it. Okay, so I'm gonna do that. And I'm trying to decide, do I want it centered? Do I want it down lower? Kind of like it a little lower rather than centered. I think it looks like about an inch from here and an inch from here. I think that looks good. Let's do it. And we are going to eyeball it. Yeah, it looks good. I like that. All right. Now this is a little tricky because the page is not flat to the ground, to the work surface. I'm just going to turn it over and do it that way. Nice. And then when we come back through for our last pass at embellishing, we may put a little something there. Okay, that's good. This was bothering me. It was just kind of plain. Now it's not. All right, so now, let's see. The spine. I don't really want to mat the spine. So I think I'm going to leave it for now, and when we get to the embellishing phase, we may put something there. And actually, we're almost at the embellishing phase. I'm thinking I should probably cut some of these apart, because there might be some spots within that we want to use them. And I'm thinking maybe this one on the spine. Right here, one of these vertical ones anyway. I think I'm going to use on the spine, and then one of these or something like it is what I was thinking for where we just put that little door thing. Let me open that again. This one would match really well with paper to sort of fade in, but we might want something that stands out a little more. I don't know. We'll play with it. All right. So I think... Oh, and the other thing... Okay, so I have to decide about these. But I don't have to decide this minute. That can happen at any time. And if you can't get these, I don't know. I think they're still available. I believe I've seen them. But if I use them. The other thing that I'm thinking of using, and that you could use as well, are just feathers. If you can see, these flowers have feathers, and that's why I grabbed them. I kind of wanted the feathers. And you could use feathers that you could get at the craft store, or if you're ever looking for feathers, the pet store. Cat toys often have feathers. Because I'm really leaning towards using these. So we'll see. And then we're going to put something on the spine, and we have to make the chain. And what I'm thinking of doing with the chain is I'm going to make a separate video, and I'll use this book so you'll see it. I'm going to make a separate video where I show how to make the chain closure, and maybe several different versions of the chain closure, because I found that I use it a lot, and I take, maybe 30 minutes to make one in a video, and I think I would rather just have a separate video of how to do the chain closures, so going forward I can just refer you to that video rather than include it in the series. But I'm going to use this album to do the demonstration, so you'll see it. I will, when we do, tripping over my words, when I come back, and that'll be in this video. I'm just going to stop now because I have to do some laundry and pack to go away. But when I resume, I'm trying to think what I want to do. I think when I resume, we'll do the embellishment so that everything is done except the closure, and then the last video will be the closure, which will end up in my Construction Basics playlist. I think that I'm thinking aloud to myself how I'm going to do that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to be back in a few seconds for you, maybe a few days for me. And we will finish this book. So I guess everything's going to finish in this one. So I'll be back in a few seconds. I'm just going to go through and add a very few embellishments because we mostly finished. And then I am going to stop. Then I'm going to record a second video showing the closure. And what I'm going to do is make that video part of my construction playlist so that going forward, instead of showing every time how to make the chain and charm closure, I can just refer people to that video. So I am going to do that. So I'm going to do this little short bit. Then I'm going to refer you over to the other video that I'm going to record right after this. And then continuing on in this video, we'll come back and I'll do a final flip through. I think that'll work. In any event, so let's go ahead and just put these little bits in. And I did decide I am going to attach these two flowers to the front of the book. They are from my stash, but I think you can still get them. They're Prima, and I'm sorry I don't have the packaging. I don't know what I did with it. I had it a little while ago. Oh, hang on. Let me see. Do I still have it? I don't see it. But I think you can still get them, or you can use feathers or something of that nature will work. All right, so I'm going to put this. These are the chipboards, and I've mixed them up, so I don't know which are from Lady and which are from Sir. But I do have enough of this paper left to do another project, which I may do at some point, but not immediately, because I'm going to move on after this and do Cats and Orchids, I think it's called, or is it Orchids and Cats? Anyway, I'll do a little haul on that, because I don't think I ever showed you that one. All right, so what I'm going to do with this one is I'm just going to glue along, like from point to point, but along the top edge in case somebody wants to stick something up underneath it. So I need to know where the top is. This is the top. Actually, I think I'm going to put just a little, like, because this one is bowed a little bit, I'm putting about a 1/4 inch, I don't know if you can see, of glue along that top edge. And then I'm just eyeballing center, picking it up to see if it's straight, and it is. And I'm just going to put that down. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same with this little village piece. I'm going to put it down in this corner, but I'm only going to glue the corner edges here and here. For the same reason, so somebody could tuck in there. That'll make that a tuck. See if it'll stick. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, and then here I kept eyeballing this piece and thinking putting it half on, half off, but then I would have had to make sure the back had a mat on it, which I wasn't sure I wanted to do, so I'm just going to leave that as is. Okay, now here's our belly band. Remember our diagonal belly band? We've got this big chipboard, and we're just going to put it right on the outside, or right on the center, like that. Pretty good. I'm going to grab my scissors. There's one little rough spot there that I just want to, I don't think I'm going to be able to get it off completely, but I want to smooth it out a little bit. There. Okay. Now this one we have to be careful because it is going to overhang. And I don't want glue, so hang on. Let me mark. All right, I think as long as I go, I'm going to put my 2 fingers between the 12 and the 3. And as long as I sort of stay to the middle, below that, if I can get the glue to come out of the bottle. Oh, see, I went too low there, I think. My goodness, I don't know why that's squeaking like that. It's weird. Okay, so you can see I've kept the glue away from the bottom and the top. Just double checking. Okay, I think we're pretty good. Putting the 12 upright. Trying to make sure I have about the same in each of these corners. There. If this page was not so bulky as it is, I would add a jewel or something right there, but this is so bulky on this side already, and then I've added that I don't know if you see how chunky all that is. Still tempted though. Okay, and then here I've got this little This Way to Adventure plaque, and I'm just going to put it right there. And that's on the front of this insert, this thing. Oh, I got to put some Kraft inside that. I didn't do that yet. Okay. Just like that. I think maybe a little lower right there. Okay. That looks good. And then on this one, I'm going to put this one here, up here. I'm just wondering, do I want to leave it to tuck underneath? I don't think so. I'm going to glue this one fully down. Okay. There's that. I'm just going to open this and turn it. Just trying to get it where I can really smush that a little bit. Okay, there we go. You could put something on the front of these bands if you wanted. I don't, so I'm leaving it. Here, I fixed this envelope finally. You could put something on there if you want. I'm just going to put, let me move this up so you can see. Hang on, let me move those. Okay, I'm just going to put this down here at the bottom, and I'm going to make it a tuck spot. So I'm just putting glue on the bottom. My goodness, what a squeak. And I'm just going to center that, put it right about there. Okay. So now, tuck a little something in there. Okay. That's that. Okay, now back here, I was thinking I might put this one up here, just to give a little more interest to this page, and maybe these two on the front of that. We'll think about that. I haven't really looked at it. I just tucked them under there, but I think so. Okay, and then this one, I'm going to glue the top part and leave the bottom in case somebody wants to tuck something underneath. Okay. Put it on my hand. Right about there. Pick it up and make sure I've got it straight, which I don't. Looks pretty good. Press that down. Okay. And then these two, I was thinking of putting here. I don't know if I need them both though, although they look kind of cool if we put them both. And it kind of matches the theme where I have both of them throughout rather than one or the other. And it matches the very front page, has these two on them. On there. No, they definitely have to go this way. All right, let me get. Oh gosh, I just put the that right down in the ink. Look at that. Ooh, I made a mess of the back cover. Okay, well we may have to put a little something there, huh? I was not paying attention. Okay, well it happens. We'll figure it out. Kind of putting some ink right on these to try to tone down the shininess a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I think we'll do that. That looks good. All right, let's do her first and then we'll fit, because he's actually a little smaller than she is. Like that. Okay. And then I'll put him there. Then I have to look at the back and see what I've got to cover up the mess I just made of the back. I may have to add a double mat to hide that, which is fine. I have plenty of paper. Flower. Goodness. Okay, so there's that. That looks good. Just tie that like that. Okay. All what am I going to do about that? Okay. That'll definitely do it. Let's look at this one. This leaves too much showing, so it's going to be this one. Okay. I really hate that I have to put this on here, but I just don't see any other way. Unless I just super ink everything and make it all look beat up and dirty. Let's see. You know what? It looks fine. I'm going to put it there. My only qualm with it is it kind of looks like a title when it's going on the back cover, but it is what it is. You will not have to do this. And it's not like you could mistake the front and back cover of these books, of this book rather, because they are, front cover is pretty out there. Okay, here we go. Done. All right, now we have the spine, and I'm really kind of tempted to just leave it because we have so much going on the front. I still have these two flowers that I'm going to add. This one and this one. And we have the chain closure. Yeah, for now I'm not going to put anything on the spine. We'll decide. Okay, I'm going to leave these off for the moment. All right. So what I'm going to do now, as I mentioned, I'm going to pick up these, is I'm going to stop. I'll be back in just a couple of seconds for you. When I come back, I will have put the chain closure on, and I will have recorded the video of how to do that, and I will have it as a separate video. And then I will just finish up, you know, with a little flip through of where we're at, and that'll be the end of this little series, I think. All right, so while I'm picking this up, I'm going to let you go. I'll be back in 2 seconds, and I will show you the finished product. Okay, I'm back. We have done our closure, which we did a tasseled style on this one, similar to what we did on Forest. So the only thing left is to attach these flowers, and I am going to use our glitter glue. Using a lot of glue because I want them to stick. Okay, so this one is going to go up under here, and I'm going to put it under there as well. Okay. And, oops, I just knocked on the floor. Something from the beading project, no doubt. All right, let me just hold that down a minute. Let it get a good grip. This is pretty good. Okay, oh, coming up a little bit, that's all right. It'll stay. And then this one is going to go here. Right there. Okay. There. Now, that is that. I am not going to open the book right now to show you the rest because these are wet. But that's alright because you will have seen the walkthrough. And so I'm going to end it here. Just bent my pen. I'm going to end it here and we will call it done. And I will see you next time when I will be using Orchids and Cats, Cats and Orchids, can't remember what it's called. Another Stamperia collection is just beautiful, which is another design project for Scrap and Create, and I'm very excited about it. But in any event, this is Stamperia Stamperia Vagabond, Lady Vagabond, and Sir Vagabond. I used one 12x12 and one 8x8 of each, and I used the chipboards and some charms that I got from Scrap and Create with my order. I also used these are just brads that I cut the spikes off of, and a couple of flowers from my stash, and charms, and most of these charms came with my order, but I did add some from my stash. You could use a ribbon if you don't want to use a chain closure. So that is it. I will see you next time and we'll make another fun project. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, all that other stuff. It really helps my channel. I really appreciate it very much. And if you missed any of this, there is a playlist. It will be called Vagabond. In my playlists, I have loads and loads of tutorials, so feel free to watch and enjoy. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.